We have some big breaking news to discuss this morning regarding the takeover of Man United. So stay with us for this breaking news. Good morning, Man United Agenda family. We have some big breaking news this morning surrounding Manchester United and the takeover process. Overnight, it has been ascertained that a Qatari-based investment group are interested in Manchester United. What I want to know before we get into the finer details of this bid is, who would you prefer to take over Man United? Would you prefer Sir Jim Ratcliffe, or would you prefer this new bid that's come into play, and that is the Qatar-based bid? And we are going to go into some detail on that there now. I think. But before we do, please do give us a like, a share, and a subscribe. We do appreciate it. So it would seem that they're expected to make a full bid in the next few days and are confident of a full takeover. The group from Qatar are set to make takeover bid for Manchester United per reports in the Daily Mail. The Glazers are open to ending their long-term association with Manchester United and have reportedly set a deadline of mid-February for all bids to be put on the table. It is now revealed that a wealthy group of investors from Qatar are expected to make bids in coming days and are confident of blowing any rivals out of the water. They are reportedly willing to meet the Glazers' £6 billion valuation of Manchester United and would be prepared to invest a further £2 billion for a complete makeover of Old Trafford. The investors are said to be independent of Qatar Sports Investments, QSI, who own Paris Saint-Germain. Hence, they may not be a conflict of interest in the future. As we know, the one ownership group cannot have two teams competing in Champions League, so that is what's being referred to there. The group consider Manchester United as the football crown jewel and are prepared to back manager Erik ten Hag with huge transfer funds that will lead the club back to the top. So, just what are your initial thoughts on this startling news that has developed overnight? Are you in favour of Qatari-based investment coming in and essentially blowing any other bidders out of the water? It is believed that the front of this bid is the Al Thani family, with the Emir said to be worth in excess of $335 billion. That is an absolute startling amount of money and would absolutely change the landscape of Manchester United. Now, we at the Man United Agenda yesterday were in fact discussing the pros and cons of instant money. We have noticed lately that Erik ten Hag has been cultivating the youth and trying to bring them in and assimilate them into our first team. Now, instead of looking at possibly the future Haalands, the future Mbappes, who those next players might be, and bring them to your club early, which would be the modus operandi of Ten Hag based on what he's done at Ajax. If somebody like the Emir here was to ascertain control of Manchester United, that would be an instant change in the resources of our club. They would not be satisfied with a slow-burning, slow-growing, progress-mapped plan of action. They would probably look to bring in the top players in the world instantaneously. So could it be that you'd see the likes of your Mbappes, the likes of your Haalands? No, obviously Haaland is a City player, but coming to Manchester United and being instantaneously planted in and forced on Ten Hag. It would be interesting to see what the dynamic would be there, because some would favour an owner that would allow Ten Hag to slowly build a squad and bring in those new, young, exciting players. But I do want to know what you think in the comments as well, because obviously this does suggest that there would be a mega bid coming for Manchester United if this family was to be involved. The other interesting thing that I did notice when I was reading about this story that was reported in the news this morning is that the owners of this bid would actually be looking to seek approval from the owners of Paris Saint-Germain before they do it, because of the way that politics and business is done in Qatar. Now, would that make our owners subservient to the Paris Saint-Germain owners, I wonder? Would it affect any possible deals if they were going for players? That would be an interesting one to tease out, I would imagine. So do let me know your thoughts on that front as well. But the breaking news is this morning that it appears that the Al Thani family, part of the Qatar wealthiest surviving dynasties in the world, are interested in taking over Manchester United. And the key issue actually is that apparently FSG did offer the club to Qatar, and they turned down Liverpool in favour of going after what they consider the big fish, and that is Manchester United. They do not seek to take Liverpool at this point. So they are very much focused on one club and one club only. Now, we do know that Sir Jim is a Manchester United fan. He has long stated this publicly, and he has been looking to get involved in ownership at Premier League level for quite some time. He was one of the bidders for Chelsea, and he did fail to get anywhere on that bid. He's now in for Manchester United, but it looks like he may be gazumped once more in his pursuit of Premiership ownership. So I am still looking for your thoughts on who you think would be the better fit to take Manchester United forward and bring us back to competing for the major trophies, whether that is Qatar or Sir Jim Ratcliffe. There's absolutely no doubting that the landscape would be changed under the Qatari ownership, but they did state in the piece that they're willing to spend £2 billion on refurbishing Old Trafford. Now, does that sound like a complete overhaul in your opinion, or are we talking about an investment in protecting the historic elements of Old Trafford, protecting our history, and bringing our current stadium into the modern era? I do want to know your thoughts on that front. I know a lot of you are probably still having your morning coffee and are thinking, this is very unusual for Man United Agenda to be live. I myself will be going to work in the not too distant future, but this news was just too big not to bring to you. Now, we are cognizant and aware that most likely we will be hearing very little about this breaking story for the rest of the day, as Manchester United, of course, are in action tonight against Leeds in the Premier League, that cancelled fixture. And we will be covering that on the Man United Agenda tonight with a live watch-along on Monday, Juma, and Mr. B will be bringing that to you here at around 7:30. I do have Mark Gemmell in the chat. We need a new stadium or massive refurbishment of Old Trafford, and that's going to take a lot of pounds. That is very much on the forceps of this conversation, Mark. The bid details that are being reported in the newspapers this morning state that not only are they willing to meet the Glazers' absurd valuation of our club, but they're willing to put £2 billion into refurbishing Old Trafford. That is a rather massive investment in the club. Mr. B, big up to you. You will obviously be here tonight with the watch along, and we will look forward to that. Red or Dead. It's hard to say, but I'd rather have Sir Jim Ratcliffe. Look at the City owners have done to the reputation of City. Now, that is an interesting point, Red or Dead. What we discussed this again last night in the Man United Agenda group chat, and we were looking at it and saying Manchester City's, I suppose, commercial repertoire would not be on the same setting as Manchester United's. They would have had to create investment opportunities in order to get sponsorship money into the club. But when you have a commercial tank like Manchester United to utilise, they would probably be able to negotiate investment contracts just on the strength of the branding and commercial ability of Manchester United. So maybe it would be the case that we wouldn't have to go down the same route. Now, the other interesting thing is we have the Roman Abramovich takeover rule. That is that there would be a restriction on when any new owner can take money out of a club that they take over, and there would be certain commitments outlined at the onset and agreed with FA in England before signing off on the takeover. So that would suggest then that everything there would be up front. Yes, Red, you have rightly pointed out that Qatar owns PSG. The information that is coming out on this bid at the moment is that it would be separate individuals from within Qatar that would be spearheading the Manchester United bid and would have no impact on Paris Saint-Germain. Now, obviously, UEFA would probably have to look at that in terms of connected parties and all the rest of it and deem whether or not there's a conflict of interest, because as we do know, a single owner cannot have two clubs in the same European competition. So that would mean that they would have to withdraw one if it was deemed that there was a link between both clubs. But at present, it would seem that it is separate individuals and therefore no conflict would arise. Mark is back to us again. He's saying Manchester United is as big a brand as Coca-Cola. We won't need to kickstart anything to get investment. Our name alone is a big asset. Danish, you're very welcome. Danish Iqbal Zagu. Old Trafford renovation is a must. That is something that we all, I think, as Manchester United fans, do agree on. Old Trafford has been allowed to fall into rack and ruin by the negligence of prior ownership and the lack of investment in making sure that our stadium is kept up to date and in good nick. We all have seen those startling photos of the leaky roof, the rust in the joints, and it's just not a happy scene to see our stadium gone to the level that it has because there just hasn't been any capital investment in preserving it. Carrington, apparently, as well, is another place that has seen a lack of investment, and therefore I think it would need significant overhaul as well to bring it into the modern area. There's a lot of people complaining about the facilities in Carrington, not less Cristiano Ronaldo in his now famous exit interview when he was on with Piers Morgan. Red or Dead is saying that's the problem. I don't want investigations into dual ownership of both clubs. Now, the other speculation, Red or Dead, that seems to be floating around the social media aspect, now there's no journalist at this juncture reporting it, is that the Paris Saint-Germain owners could be considering flipping the club should they succeed to gain access to a Premier League club. But I would imagine that all due diligence in the takeover process would have to be done and agreed prior to being given the ownership title of Old Trafford. So the question of dual ownership, I'd imagine, would come up prior to sale. But the issue there, I'd imagine, that you're worried about is that the Glazers could hang on for a bit longer and cause further damage to our club. Danish is back again saying, Glazers always treat Manchester United as an investment to earn profit. Whoever takes over United now should take pride in owning United and treat it as a trophy asset rather than profit-making enterprise. That is very true, Danish, and I suppose when you look at why these mega rich investment areas do look to take over football clubs, it certainly doesn't seem, on the football aspect of it anyway, to cash in on it. They do have a benefit in their ancillary activities, because the prestige of owning a football club does seem to carry much weight in their business dealings. But Manchester United would be very much a investment to enhance their portfolio. And from what we've seen of City's owners, despite the investigations that are going on now, is they were always interested in gaining notoriety from on-field success. Their pursuit of Champions League success is well documented, and so far it has eluded them. So I don't think any other bidder from that region would be any different in that they would want their team succeeding at the top tier of football. There is 19 of you in the chat. Please do consider giving us a like, share, and subscribe. We do appreciate it very much. We are trying to bring you all the latest news surrounding the takeover bids. It would appear, at least from the Rain Group, who have been appointed to monitor the takeover process for the Glazers, that they are on track for identifying the number one bidder by mid-March, which would suggest that maybe we are in the final 5 weeks or so of the Glazers having complete and utter control of Manchester United Football Club. Red or Dead is saying the truth is the Glazers will sell to the highest bidder anyway. You are absolutely correct on that. I don't think any Manchester United fan is under any illusion that Manchester United will not be sold to anyone but a highest bidder. They are going to make one heck of a profit on the disposal of Manchester United. But I suppose we as fans, even though we might find that absolutely nauseous to think about, will be glad to see the back of them. Now, if this family, the Al Thani family of Qatar, are involved in this bidding process, their net worth of $335 billion would suggest that they will blow any other potential rival out of the water. The other interesting thing was I did see a comment from one journalist that it suggested that they wanted to do business quickly and get it over the line. So maybe they might go in there and say, look, what's your price to accept our bid now and get out? That we will watch this space and see how that progresses. Mr. B, you're absolutely 100% correct. Please do hit those likes, guys. We do appreciate it. And Mark Gamble, he's saying, Red or Dead is right. Glazers will sell to the highest bidder. Yes, they will absolutely sell to whoever transacts them the most money, because they are looking to leave with the highest amount of profit possible. Now, just to summarize the breaking news this morning, there has been apparently a second bidder identified in the process of trying to gain control of Manchester United. This bidder apparently was offered the opportunity to buy Liverpool Football Club from FSG, but had turned down that offer in pursuit of what they consider the big whale in the market at the moment, and that is Manchester United. It still is to be ascertained what the implications of connections with the Qatari ownership of Paris Saint-Germain would have on any prospective bid. But there is no doubt that the individuals concerned that are being identified as being potentially part of this bid, with their net worth of $335 billion, would not shy away from any bidding situation. They have the net worth to blow anybody out of the water. Red or Dead says we need to rebuild Old Trafford, and I welcome anyone other than the Glazers. Now, I think we would have to be kind of cautious in making such an open-ended statement as that, Red, because there are probably other unscrupulous individuals with more money than sense that could try to erode what we want from Manchester United, that they might not be the ones that would serve our club the best. MUFC Realist TV, how are we doing, buddy? This is phenomenal news, isn't it? That a bidder of such a net wealth is expressing interest in buying Manchester United, and they are looking to make an impact out of the gate, per reports in the Mirror this morning. 27 of you in the chat. Please do keep an eye out for tonight's watch along. Mr. B and OMONDI will be bringing you live coverage of Manchester United versus Leeds in that refixed fixture. I did put out a poll on the start of the show. I just need to ascertain what the outcome of you, the viewers, was. So, Mr. B, if you is still in the chat, could you just give me some information as to what percentages are on the poll, if you don't mind? Red or dead? We own most of the land around the ground. The Class 92, still the football hotel United. Well, that would be the interesting aspect of it. Maybe the business acumen of a potential owner would seek to gain ownership of any hospitality that is around Manchester United Football Club. We will have to watch this space in that regard. But I think the initial situation here is that somebody needs to gain ownership of the club and be approved by the Glazers to transact the final consideration. So we shall see how that plays out. MUFC Realist TV, you're doing well. Enjoying Thailand and knowing United would be sold in 60 days is all good. It's Leeds Day. And Mr. B has come back to me with the poll. 73% of you are saying that you want Qatar-based bid to take over at Manchester United. There are rumours that we will have a Saudi-based bid as well, but as yet no details. But that is it from me this morning. I want to thank everyone for joining me in the chat. We will watch and wait and see how this business does take place over the coming days. But at the moment, it looks like a mega rich Qatari-based investment group are looking to spearhead a bid to take Manchester United from the Glazer family. I have been Rebel. Have a very good day. Talk to you again soon.